Hey everybody, it's Ryan here at Pi Records. I'm here with Noah Drumright from Otitis Records. He's a great guy and he does a lot of stuff. So I'm going to kick it off right now just by asking, what is Otitis? What does it mean?
Otitis Media Records, it's kind of like a little tongue-in-cheek thing because of my medical background. Otitis Media just is the medical term for an earache. So I figured, we're putting out some loud decibels. I guess hopefully people are cranking them up and causing some earaches, or maybe not. I don't know. I just thought it sounded cool. And then the word media sounds like professional, so we're like, hey, Otitis Media Records. So it is kind of a long thing, and sometimes we get a lot of Otis Records or Otis Media. Even my friends for a while were like, Otis, who's Otis? And even the mail stop guy where I send off our records, he was calling me Otis for a while before he realized my name was Noah. So yeah, I get a lot of Otis. Wow. But yeah, like I said before we started recording, we'll definitely might be coming up with a mascot, drawing something up for that. Otis.
Who is that was Opus in Bloom County. I was thinking Opus.
Yeah. Right on.
So tell me a little bit about how you started and how you kind of cut your teeth in the biz.
Well, I've been playing, I guess, punk rock music since 91, 92, since our high school days. And a lot of the guys I play with in my bands were still playing together in our 40s and some guys 50s, I guess. Same music, Our surf band, Total Death Mechanics, we started like in, I guess, 1995, around there. It was around the time, it was after Pulp Fiction came out and Misraloo was real popular because of Dick Dale and, the theme song, theme to Pulp Fiction. So we got started messing around, and we were playing in a pop punk band called Right Turn Clock time. And so we started messing around with these other kind of surfy tunes. I don't know if you can see them in the background, but I collect these vintage custom amps. Wow. And that blue in there is the first one that I got that has had reverb in it. It has the reverb coil where you can pound it on the top and it makes that noise. So we found that at a pawn shop, me and my buddy Ray, and we started playing around and writing. I wrote a few little instrumental tunes, and we were like, man, this is kind of fun. It was easy to do. It was relaxing. We wrote what we call our first gin songs, and recorded on a little 4-track demo, which we still have never released. We never released anything, long story short, with Total Death Mechanics until 2017. My buddy Chris Purrier, who's my partner in all this, he was telling me, why don't you just do your own label and put out your own record? And I was like, nah, I didn't want to deal with all that, because I'm primarily a music dude and I write music and play, stuff. I have another band, Noah and the Beyonders, and I put out 3, albums, but on my friend's label. They're called TFC Records, and they're here locally and all over. And to me, it was just easier to write my music, do it all DIY, record it. We record on our own. We have our own studio, and we just put it out under their label. Well, when it came time to Total Death Mechanics, my buddy Chris and I were talking, and he said, hey man, just do it on your own. And I had the name for Otitis Media Records already, and I thought that would be cool. And he's like, yeah, dude, just try it. And so we ended up doing our first, this record, the 7-inch Total Death Mechanics, Nasty Pterodactyl. And that was our first thing. And I didn't really think much of it. I was like, okay, well, we came up with a little cheesy logo, and I didn't know it would really take off like it did. But then Chris was getting kind of emailed. I think we made a Facebook page or some crap like that. And Chris was getting emails from surf bands and other bands, and he would tell me about them. And then he told me about these guys, Terra Motor. from Brazil, and they, you know, he was like, hey, why don't we do their record? I was like, whatever, you know, and even at the time I was still kind of like, whatever, yeah, that sounds cool, I guess. And but then when I got, you know, we got it and we finished it, and I was like, holy crap, this is pretty cool. And then more and more bands kind of, he would kind of come up and tell me like, hey, there's this other band called Surf Aliens. I think I'm gonna do their CD. And he was kind of primarily doing CDs, like these little, you know, I like them because they kind of look like little records, but I wasn't really too thrilled about CDs at the time. But now I'm kind of appreciate them a lot more. But we were getting bands, and he was kind of like, hey, this band, Toro Jones or Wood Surfers, and we're like, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, do it, whatever, you know. So we were doing it, and but I was still, my heart was kind of more into like, well, I'd like to do more records, like vinyl and stuff like that. And I know it's more costly and time consuming, and that's always the problem there. It's like, well, how do we do this, and where do we sell them? And I mean, here in our town, there's only a couple stores, and you know, it's not really, it's not a real big, you know, bustling city or anything like that. But over time, you know, I put out a couple of records here and there, and from these bands that we were meeting from all over the different pockets of the world, we were like, hey, this is kind of cool, you know, like getting our name out there and putting out different records. Got one by these guys from Sweden, the Randalls. They're pop punk, you know, and so our goal was to make, well, we'll put out stuff that we like to listen to, which is a lot of surf rock, instrumental, garage, pop punk, you know, stuff like that, and hardcore, because we like horror, thrash, and skate stuff, and you know, so that's kind of what we're doing. We're kind of like multi-genre. I mean, some labels I noticed they do kind of they stick to traditional surf or punk rock or the Ramones core stuff, and we're kind of like shotgunning it, I think, you know, which is cool, but in a way it seems like it's a little more difficult to like get our things and with certain, you know, because it's like some labels or distros, they only want the pop punk stuff, right, or some only want the surf stuff, you know what I mean? And that's where I'm kind of like, well, I'll take what I can get. So far it's been working out, man. It's now like over the last maybe year and a half, I think I've gotten a little more involved in it, and you know, I really kind of took on a bunch of projects all kind of in succession to kind of just like kind of load up our catalog, you know. So like right now we have a bunch of things getting pressed, and hopefully you know, they'll be coming out sequentially like month after, just to kind of load up our year full of cool releases, you know. And then I guess after that I can just try to spread them out, get them out there.
So how long is Otitis?
But so far I'm real proud of it. Since around 2017, I guess we count our starting date when we put out the Total Death record. That's when we were, I guess, you know, officially kind of a thing. And then like I was like, it was a year and a half into it, then I was like, well, let's make it an LLC. Like, we're not business guys by any chance, but we did the LLC thing because I was like, I don't know, I mean, we have a real, I kind of do our, I guess, dealings with bands kind of like how I would want to be treated in a band, you know, like all I would want is the dang records, you know, and like a percentage of them or something. So that's kind of how we deal with most of the bands that we put stuff out for. We give them a percentage of the records, and they could sell them, do whatever, you know, they want with it. If they need more, they can get them from us. And then we're trying to push them on our end. So it's kind of win-win, I think, you know. Try to keep it simple. So otherwise it's like, what? We're not big. We're not going to quit our day jobs. This is more, you know, we're trying to do this as a self-sustaining kind of thing. We would love for our releases to just maybe pay for the next release, you know what I mean? And so forth. That's our goal. I mean, unfortunately right now with all the pandemic and everything, these bands can't play, you know, so that's a real big frustration there. Because normally every band that we've worked with, they're all hardworking bands. I mean, you've seen them, and you know a lot of them too. I mean, they're playing when they can play, and they're promoting themselves and doing a lot of work. And that's what sucks, is that they can't play shows, so I'm just really hoping this year there's a turnaround this year and these guys can get out there, and because that's where they sell all this stuff, like
Yeah.
primarily I think at gigs and tour, and they give, it puts gas in their vans and food on their and beer in their hands. So hopefully it'll improve. I hope this vaccine helps things.
So yeah, definitely. I hope the vaccine is rolled out soon. I know there's different tiers of who gets it, but I hope going forward, after all this political stuff is this messed up political stuff is taken care of, that we get it rolled out.
Yeah, I'm with the fire department here in Corpus, and we got our first dose. We should be getting our second dose in a couple weeks, I think. My wife's an ICU nurse, and so she got hers, so we're just kind of, I hope it helps, man. I hope it helps people. I hope it saves lives. And I mean, you can only hope for the best, at least it's something.
So I want to talk about your website. It is quite expansive, and it deals with a lot of different things. It's not just a record label. I don't know quite how to describe it other than I'm like, oh my God, this guy's for real. So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I just we've had the Bandcamp, which it's a great tool to use, that Bandcamp. We just have our artists. We have kind of I had the idea this last month or two to kind of like, well, let's kind of fatten up our distro a little, because we were carrying, because a lot of labels that we do trades with each other, like, hey man, you give me these CDs, I'll give you those, and that's cool because you get to meet each other and kind of do that stuff and help each other out, and it hopefully spreads the music out, because that's the ultimate goal I think everybody has. But so working with other labels is awesome. So we're the disc part, I'm trying to like get a little, mainly it's selfish because a lot of them are bands that I really like. so like Baby Shakes and things like that, they're like this New York rock band, and just other ones I kind of like. I'm all, and you're like, well, it doesn't hurt to ask, like, so I got up the guts to ask them, like, hey, can I distro your records? And sure enough, they're like, yeah, sure, go for it. So things like that. And then like, Surfer Joe in Italy, Lorenzo, I got a bunch of stuff wholesale from him because he's awesome, and just things like that. So I'm looking to just kind of like, and your stuff, Black Valley Moon, that's a great release. So I was like, yeah, I want some of those, definitely. And I talked to Sam over the last year and a half or whatever, and every time, well, back when he was approached, we were talking, we were like booked, we had all these things. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry, like I just can't, because sometimes you're just like, well, you only have so much money to put these things out. So
right.
But man, I'm so happy that came out, because it's really good sounding and it looks great package, pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love his playing. So I'm a guitar player, so I really playing.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's got a cool, he's got a unique sound. It's kind of like a dirty kind of, like reverby. Like, I like that. I like a little dirt in it.
So as far as the pandemic is concerned, how has business been for you? I know you don't like to downplay it or overplay it, but how has it been getting the music out there?
It's a little tricky, more so I think locally than anything, because some stores, they have like limited capacity or they're just not even open. So I haven't really been able to like get our stuff physically to some stores around here, or places that a lot more business is being done online, which is cool. You know what I mean? I think hopefully that's what's keeping everybody surviving out there. But hopefully once the stores open back up, I can get more stuff out there. So it's kind of hit and miss, like, you go a few days and there's no orders, and then you go just like with anything, then there's an order or two. It's like, hey, wow, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Uh, international shipping, we ship internationally, and that's kind of a killer right now. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so expensive to ship out of the country some places, and I think you have to kind of watch. I guess when you set up your shipping on your when you're on your sales thing, you got to make sure you account for shipping to Japan or wherever, because man,
Right.
sometimes it's like, well, I know when we first started off, like the first couple records I said, I was like, well, I basically gave that away for free.
Yeah,
Like
I
after,
know.
the
I
dude
know
paid
totally
for
what
it.
you mean.
Yeah, he paid for it. He didn't. The shipping wasn't quite there, like. So I
Yeah.
ended up. Well, I want to get it out there, so I sent it anyway because I don't want to be like douchey and be like, hey man, can you give me another $7 or $8 or whatever? Like no, I'll just send it and whatever. So
Yeah.
basically, at least we
I've totally been through
I
that
did that a few times.
because
Yeah,
like sending it to Canada is different than sending it to South America. And sending it to Japan costs way less for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, hopefully, I don't know. Maybe things will change. I don't know if this administration will change any of that stuff or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of a killer there. The shipping. We put out this band called the Thunderbeats. They're from Moscow, Russia, and this is the first time dealing with a band from that type of society and everything. Like Russia, Moscow. And I was like, well, how the hell am I going to get them their records? Like, but sure enough, I shipped them, and I just kept my fingers crossed, and I didn't ship the whole amount that they're getting, because I'm breaking it up in like 3 shipments because I wanted to see that they get there, and they get the records.
Yeah.
So it took a little over a month, but finally, I was like, they got them. They were happy with them, and now they want more. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, now I know we can get them there for sure, and I'm doing this other release that's coming out next month with this really great band called the Sino Hearts, but they're based out of Beijing, China, and it's like, okay, this one might be tricky because I've just been communicating with him and some other people. It's like, well, you might have to send them to Hong Kong, and then they have to somehow get them from there, So I was talking to that Sharawaji Records. That guy's in Hong Kong. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to work out something to try to get the band some copies, because he was Zhang, the guy that's in the Sino Hearts. He was talking about how he's already had 2 releases already, and he has none of his own records. I'm like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be the first to get him his actual records. Hopefully.
I like to split kind of like a third to the band, keep 2/3 for myself. They can sell them.
Oh, that's good. That's a nice good.
After shows. But, unfortunately, you can't sell them at the shows right now. So,
yeah,
hopefully the vaccine will take care of all that.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, maybe I mean, I don't see it happening right away, but hopefully maybe by mid-year or the fall or something of this year, things will start opening. I noticed that there's some little shows going on here and there, but they're limited capacity, and it's nowhere near what they used to be or whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully that works. Yeah, we usually do. Yeah, we work out like a percentage too with the band, and also with some bands like Oldie Han, like they're from here, from Corpus. They're like kind of pop punk thing, but we've worked out with them. They did whenever I have all the price set, once I get the quote for the record and do all that stuff, I'll even offer the band like, hey, if y'all want to pitch in this much, you can have that much more chunk of the records, you know what I mean, for yourself. But to me, that gives the band like more ownership of their own stuff, and it gives them, and it's less crap I have to store. You know what I mean? So it gets it checks all the boxes. It gets the product made, and they can have them in their hands and stuff like that too. So I think I'm very pro band support, you know, so I'd like to, I don't know, but I think we're real happy with how we're running it. You know, I just hope once shows start happening, we can see things move a little faster. Like right now, like I said earlier with your question earlier, it's kind of like a trickle thing. You know, you get one or two here and there, a few a month. Sometimes you're like, oh well, and that's where, you know, what's good about social media is like you can advertise and it's pretty much kind of free. So you know, you just get it out there, get the word out there, and then just, you know, finding the distributors is the hard thing, I think, for me, that I've like that's the hard thing. It's like getting in with people. We you know, I found a couple and they're real helpful, and I'm real happy with that, like Sound Flat Mail Order in Germany, and then Green Noise Records. He's always send him some of our stuff, and it's usually like consignment, but hey, at least it's out there, you know, circulating. So
do you know Double Decker, or I'm sorry, Double Crown Records?
Yeah, Sean, yeah.
He sells other bands, other labels stuff on his site.
Yeah, he does.
So
yeah,
maybe
I've traded a bunch of our CDs. Yeah, he's got a bunch of our CDs and stuff.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and we do his zine, that, which is awesome. Like, that's a great idea to do a zine with the CD comp. You know, that rules. I mean, we've been in a couple of them, like my band, and then it's good advertising. You know, buy a slot or whatever for the ads, because yeah. So he's real good about working with us. Definitely like that. And then we've also done a couple project. Well, we've done a project or two where we've teamed up with other labels and put things out, like this band from Brazil. They're kind of like a street punk band, Opreco, but I mean, you see like 3 different labels, and we all pitched in on these, and we each get a chunk, you know, like so that's pretty cool too, you know, because it kind of makes it a little cheaper. Again, there's lots of benefits to, like, you know, going in on stuff. So I don't remember, like, back in the 90s and early 2000s, like a lot of labels doing stuff like that. But I think now it's more like people like improvise a little more, and you know, I'm totally down with that. So any label I run across, even you, like I'm like, hey, if you ever want to go in on a project, you know, we're all down for it, you know. So it kind of, you know, why not?
Yeah, totally. There's a band. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but there's a band that I want to put out that I may need help with, as far as promotions and stuff like that, or maybe cutting a cost. But it's brand new and it's really, really good. And
that's cool.
But like you said, it's the money. You gotta have the money to put it out, unfortunately.
Yeah, you gotta somehow justify it, you know, like like what? I mean, I'm a Star Wars collector, you know, like I also have lots of Star Wars crap. Like I have a whole room full of shit, you know, like collectibles. So I've been kind of like selling some Star Wars stuff, you know, like on Mercari, and I ended up doing like a DBA under Otitis Media Records called Lost Ark Toys and Collectibles, and so I do. I've been selling figures basically now to finance my record label, so which is kind of it. One, it kind of covers my butt with my wife. I could tell her like, "Hey, look, I'm selling this, and I'm making, you know, I'm not using all our money, and I'm not going to make us go broke. You know, I'm at least, you know, throwing like, you know, I'm selling this Millennium Falcon to pay for this vinyl." So that's been kind of working all right too. You got to improvise.
So how much time do you split between the label? Like, how do bands contact you as far as putting a record out, and as opposed to doing your distro?
Well, the distro part seems like that's more me going after stuff like, oh, I want this or that. Or if I'm dealing with another label and we want to swap some things out, uh, we'll do that. But as far as like stuff that releases that I want to put out, I've usually kind of got them either planned ahead with the band, like we've talked about them, or they've said, hey, we have 4 songs coming out and we want, when we're done recording, I'll send them to you. Let you know what we think. And uh, yeah, that's usually how it is. So I already kind of have it in my mindset, how we're going to go. And like, once I get the music or plan it all out, then it kind of takes off from there. But a lot of it is just kind of just talking or whatever. So far, I haven't really release wise, like there's been a couple, like the Sino Hearts, for instance. Like I found those guys I was looking for like Japanese surf bands. I was just curious. I was like, all right, what's like, where are the, like I know they're out there. I know there's a lot of Japanese bands over there that are into like surf, garage rock, and stuff like that. So I ended up stumbling across the Sino Hearts, and well, they're kind of more like rock and roll, pop, like power pop, pop punk kind of stuff. And I was like, what the hell? And these dudes are from they're in China. Well, then I found out that Zhang was also he played. I think he toured with that band D Cracks for a while, and so he was working out of Austria. And then I just messaged him. I was like, hey man, like I love your music. Like it's catchy as hell and it's awesome. Like if you ever want to do, I did the whole bit, like, you ever want to do a American release of something, and right away it was like, hell yeah, dude. And like, so we, it just kind of snowballed from there. And man, it's gonna be pretty badass. Like it's a pretty neat record. Like I kind of went all out on it. Like it'll have like an OBI strip and all that stuff too. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I'm pretty hyped about it. But for that, like, well, and we have our very first like compilation called Surf You Next Tuesday, and that comes out next month too. And that is in that regard, I was gonna initially just do a release, kind of like almost like a label sampler of the bands that we put out and stuff like that. But I was like, well, maybe I'll try to branch it out a little and ask this band over here or that band over there that we haven't done releases with if they're interested. And that kind of took off and became this, comp. And now we have like 16, different artists on it from all over the place. And that should be pretty nice too. And so I'm already working on the next comp, the sequel, Surf You Next Tuesday 2, which I hope to have out maybe by the end of 2021 or maybe by the fall at least. But in that case, like you said, I'm messaging bands and saying, hey man, I'm already getting this together now. I know it's kind of early, and some bands are about to go into the studio, and because I prefer like some maybe unreleased stuff a little more, because with our first comp, a lot of songs had already been put out on this or that or whatever, which was easier for me. It's like, okay, cool, I'll just drag it in and do whatever and then get it mastered for vinyl, and
Right.
and then that was cool. But this time around, I'd like to do a little bit more maybe exclusive songs, that were recorded. There's a few bands that actually went in and recorded for this first comp, and they did an amazing job. So I'd like to kind of maybe do that again for this one, and maybe send it off to press by like the beginning of the summer or something like that too. So, because I'm pretty sure people will dig this first one. I know I dig it. I listen to it all the time.
Is it on vinyl?
Yeah, it's gonna be on vinyl. Yeah, right now I just it's being pressed by Gotta Groove Records. Actually, I've been doing everything with Gotta Groove Records out of Ohio, and mainly because I know their templates. I know they put up with my bull crap, I guess. But they're pressing this one, so it'll be done. Yeah, it'll be a random color vinyl. Everything we're doing from now on is going to be vinyl, and then we will do some accompanying CDs. Like there's going to be a CD for this, probably in this style. The little like this thing.
Yeah.
Because I like them. They're cool. They look like little mini records, Maybe we have some digipacks. Like for this new, we just released this Terra Motor record. I don't know if you saw it, but these guys are awesome, badass record. And that's colored vinyl, but we're also doing a CD for this one too. It has like a bonus track and stuff. So if I can get like make the CD a little special, we'll do that. So for the comps, there'll be CDs too, because some people like CDs still. It's not really my thing anymore. Even though I do have some CDs that I jam every now and then, but I prefer the vinyl.
Yeah, usually when I sit down to work for Pi, I'll put a CD on most likely because I don't have to get up and flip it over.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Or 45 where you get like 5 minutes of listening on each side. That's it, max. You gotta get up and turn it. Yeah. It's more to me like the vinyl is more like it's like an intimate experience where you're kind of listening to the band because you want to listen to the band, just like someone buys a record because they want to listen to that band and that whole album.
Yeah,
so that's what I like.
So I'll just lay down on the couch and just look at the liner notes, and it's a different experience because you hear things that you don't normally hear on like a CD.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It's like a cereal box, when you are eating cereal as a kid, you want to have that box in front of you and read everything, check out the side, Back when I think cereal boxes were more interesting. But that's how I think of records. You want to look at it, and you got the insert, you got the poster, and pretty cool.
So, I want to know what's coming up besides the comps. What for your company, Otitis? What is your next goal? Are you expanding? What is your next adventure?
I think right now we're going to stay the course just with our releases. We have a few, like I said, I kind of preloaded everything at the end of this 2020 and got a bunch of projects started that are going to start popping up here, like the Sino Hearts LP, and we're doing the American release of the Mullet Monster Mafia, their album that they released it in Europe, which is pretty much all sold out over there. So we're doing a batch over here for an American release. And then this really badass band from France called Arnaud Desea and the Clockwork Wizards. Have you heard of those guys?
No.
Incredible. So we're doing the Retro Futurisme Part 2, I think. It's like their sequel to their first one. You should check them out. Yeah, Arnaud Desea. We got their album, and then this band, this hardcore skate thrash band that they're pretty old school hardcore band from Texas called Confused. We're putting their album out, and that's going to be pretty amazing. They're all going to be like boom, 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 hitting here pretty soon. So, and then the big one for me, which is kind of like a dream release, is that I've known Dave Parasite from the Parasites for a long time, since like the early mid 90s when my band Right Turn Clyde, we would play shows with them here and there when they toured through Texas. And I got this wild hair up my butt, and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna call Dave and see what he's got, because I know he was always like a lot of their stuff's just sold out and gone. And one of my favorite albums of theirs was Punchlines, and I was basically like, hey, how about we put out Punchline or a reissue or a repress or something, and we got to talking, and there's a lot of, I guess, other complicated things with some of their music, like it needs to be taken from reel to reel, remastered, all this stuff, because he doesn't have any copies. So it sounds like a really long process, but there was the matter of this album that they put out on CD only. I'm sorry if it was on Go Card or who did it. They put out retro pop remasters, and basically, which is like a greatest hits that they had put together, which has all my favorite songs on it. So I was like, well, how about that? And so we got to talking, and we're like, yes, okay, so we're gonna do retro pop remasters on vinyl, and I just got that started. And I love it, and I'm so happy. And we did some not really much tweaking of the cover, but we've just
Right.
doing the graphic artist and graphic art work for it, and got that finished up. Right now, I'm literally starting to work on the CD version of it, because
Oh,
we're going
wow.
to do more CDs under Otitis Media Records along with it, because we thought that'd be a good idea. Plus, hopefully, when the Parasites start touring again, they'll have at least a good chunk of records and
Yeah.
CDs to take on tour with them. So
Something I
so yeah, that's my big one that I'm really happy about.
something I found interesting when I talked to Sam from Down by Law, when they reissued Wayward Tide, uh, what was that? Tides and Wayward Sails. Um,
Uh-huh.
they had to search down the guy who originally put it out and get buy the rights to put the record out. What is that process for
Oh wow.
you? Uh,
I
like after reissuing, if it was on Go Kart or something like that.
Yeah, honestly, it's just for this one, it's just dealing with Dave. I mean, Dave is the one that says I can do it.
Right.
There's other records of his. I think that he has licensing things set up for a certain way, and so I mean, me being kind of wanting to stay uncomplicated and not really, because like I said, I would love to do punchlines and I would love to do some other ones, but I think he already kind of has licensing things in place that I don't understand as of yet. So
Right.
uh, I don't want to touch those. I just like he says, hey, we're going to do this. Well, because I think a lot of it is that other label they closed shop like 5 years ago or something.
Oh,
So I guess there's no conflict or any issues there. So, and it's all Dave stuff. So, um,
right.
yeah, I guess I just do what he, wants to do. so,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
really like.
Otherwise, I think other things there's more complicated things, and I'm like, I don't know anything about that. So
Well, no, I really
yeah,
want to thank you for your time and getting to know more about your company. You do so much, and I was happy to get connected with you. And I know you support the scene, you support independent businesses, and that's really important. And that was one of the things I admired about you.
yeah, man. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wish my buddy Chris could be on here. He works graveyards for UPS, so he's probably still asleep. I would think. So, but yeah, Chris Prayer. I mean, he's been a big. He's like my big brother. He's. So I'm glad he pushed me to do all this stuff. So we're having a good time, and we're trying to keep it simple, like I said, and enjoy it. I guess once it gets to the point to where you're not enjoying it, it's not really worth doing. But
Yeah.
for now, we really enjoy it, and we'll keep doing it as we keep enjoying it. So,
Awesome.
but thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. And
Yeah. Thanks so
yeah,
much.
yeah, and whenever like you get more stuff out, or you ever want to go in on something or whatever, just let me know, and yeah, we can get going on something. So, to me, it's like life is short. I hate to be cliche, but it's like, man, you might as well be as productive as you can while you are here on the planet. Because we never know. Every day's not guaranteed. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
I I am going to be looking. I'm going to be looking to talk to you about something in the near future. Um,
Okay, cool.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sure. I'm sure you know one of the guys in the band from a different band, but it's pretty rad, and I hope it comes through.
Yeah, man. Well, I'd be happy to help in any way. Just yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Have a good day. Be safe, and I hope you sell a lot of records today.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks. Yeah. yeah, it's like a really nice little release to like pack up things and send them off. You know, it's always a pleasure. So
Cool.
yeah, right on. Likewise.